Mazel tov! Can you hear me? Mazel tov! Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Zoe Felici with Felici Events. I'm here to talk to you and hopefully inspire some of you to do some mitzvah design and decor. Well, we're going to start here with a little bit of one-on-one. Right here. A little bit, we're going to take just a few minutes and make it an educational process, just in case there's people who don't know too much about bar mitzvah. So we'll start with Education 101. And that is the difference between a bat and a bar mitzvah. Bat mitzvah, we have a young lady, 12 years old. The bar is the gentleman at 13 years old. That's when they are coming of age. So there's the difference. Sometimes you have caterers, people who might need a little bit of education, floors, things like that. So it's good to have that right off the bat. And then what is mitzvah? Mitzvah is defined. Anyone? Mitzvahs? What's a mitzvah?
Good deed.
Joyous occasion, a good deed. Exactly. Courtesy, generosity, good work, doing good things, right? So now we have boys and girls doing good things. I believe that you really have to get to the core of what the event is about. I mean, even when we talk about weddings, I know it's about the party. I hear it from clients all the time. But really, truly, for me, the core, the focus, what we want to do is, what is the mitzvah? What are we celebrating? So I find it important to get to the core of that and really understand what the kids are doing. Essentially, it's a graduation, right? Food for thought. What are the challenges with mitzvahs? Couple. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the caterer is presenting next, brought food, and I asked them, please make sure it's kosher. So it is sitting back there, it is kosher. One of the things that I find really the challenge is connecting the kids, right? So you have two clients. You have the kids, they want all their stuff. They've got their dreams. Money is not enough, there's nothing about it. And then you have the parents. Right? So you're having to deal and connect with two different, and I don't know, I'm not a parent, but I've heard that 12 and 13-year-old children may not be the best for their parents to connect with at that age, right? So that's really one of the challenges. Well, don't worry, you guys, I'm here to let you keep calm and mazel tov. The first event we're going to talk about, I'm going to take you through three different bar mitzvahs and just talk to you a little bit about what inspired me, how I came about certain things. The first one is Erin's pink sim. Her theme was pink. She knew from the very get-go that she was a girly girl. They came to me. They already had the venue, and pink was the theme. And the reason, and this one, I really enjoyed this one, is because the mitzvah, which is the good deed, was dedicated to her grandmother, who was a breast cancer survivor. And that's what it was about. The mom, okay, so, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. One thing you'll see for me also, it's very important to start from the very beginning when you do have the grand entrances. The invitation really is the first impact. The save the date is the first impact, and we'll talk about that. But as you notice through the few events I take you, really having that grand entrance and that wow factor before you even walk into the venue. This is in Santa Barbara, California. This is at the Montecito Country Club. Spanish style, very big, grand. We rolled out the pink carpet, and then you see the floating things on the chandelier, which you'll see more of. Now, this is something that was important to the mom, and that was to have the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall, which is in Israel. And I was trying to replicate it. I was trying to stay within budget. I also do work for the Jewish Federation of Santa Barbara. I'm talking to the rabbi, lo and behold. He has a wall that he uses for the Jewish festival, which I'm also a part of, and he donated it for a small price. Now, this thing was nasty, okay? It has been schlepped. I don't know how old it is. You can see kind of the tears a little bit on the left. We did the best we could with it. It looked authentic, for lack of a better word. So what we added were I went to Michael's, and I added these, if you see the greenery, to give it a little bit of three-dimension, and that was just real plastic from Michael's greenery that we added to make it look a little authentic, lit up the bottom, a little bit of lighting, and then of course the whole Western Wall is to put scrolls and wishes for Erin, the mitzvah girl, into the wall, but we weren't able to do that, so we just hung the baskets with paint. And this ended up being her guest book area, so people could leave wishes for her. A lot of attendees are not necessarily Jewish. They don't understand some of the concepts, so education and signage for me, again, was important. Finding paint with little touches here and there, and letting them know what the Western Wall is about. And then also, you'll see this theme throughout. For me, is so important to get those kids hydrated. They will suck down soda pop like you would not believe. So having a mock-tini, a beverage station for the children themselves, and then we had little fun things for the girls. We had the twirly straws, we had lips, and we had the mustaches. This right here we replicated, so you saw it at the very beginning, and that was for the grand entrance. We had some whimsical, there was a little bit of whimsical involved with it. So we bought those little paper balls and then hung escort cards from the existing chandelier. So there was a theme at the very beginning of the grand entrance. This was for the adults to get their escort cards, which again makes it interactive and fun. And then once you walked in from the reception area, from the cocktail hors d'oeuvre area, you walked into the room. Another thing that I find too, it's really great to have two rooms that are not necessarily separate. So the parents can go off and do their own thing, have a nice dinner, then you can have the kids' room, the dancing, the entertainment, and all of that. This again, in Montecito Country Club, you walked in right to the kids' room. And I don't know, did anyone see David Stark yesterday? Were you guys there? I swear, I tweeted about it. I felt like I was talking to myself. The guy's amazing. And one thing he brought up, it's like he had heard my presentation, by the way. He talked about balloons. Well, balloons can bring some sort of festivity to it. And having these big, oversized, blown balloons really made a big impact because the ceilings are extremely high in that room. And we really kept it to basic linens for the kids. They were still pretty nice linen roll-ups at the table. The centerpieces themselves were daisies, and then we had candy stuck in there. That's the view from up above for the kids. Again, playing with the ceilings. And one thing that's popular now is the lounge furniture. I mean, not just with weddings, but also with mitzvahs, and really classing it up. And that's what was important for the mom on this occasion. So we did bring in the tufted furniture. And also, as you see, the theme continued with this whimsical look of something stringing from the chandelier. And again, budget permitting, what the inspiration was, here it is stringing from the chandelier. The inspiration was this, which is oversized slinkies. They're probably about this big around. And this contraption right here would cost, I mean, a lot. So it worked out for us to do it that way and really maintain it over the dance floor and keep it fun and keep it dedicated and true to what we wanted to do. This here, now we got to the adult seating. For the adults, we did a little bit more fun. How, again, the balance. How do you keep it kid-friendly? And also, how do you keep it for the adults? So we had well, Nico talked about monochromatic. We had monochromatic used for decor and design in the floral, so different kinds of similar flowers for each centerpiece. We mixed up, if you see the different linens in there, some candlelight, and really keeping it classy and upscale. We mimicked the mock-tini station, which was out for the pre-reception to the kids, and made a candy bar, and always that's a huge hit. And again, using some fun components, fun linens, and the candy, incorporating silver. We had a chocolate fountain, we had mini cupcakes. There's nothing like getting kids high on sugar at the end of the night. See you later. Okay, mazel tov. And then this is the Montecito Club from the country club from the outside. Okay, now we'll go through three very different ones. Now this one, Zach, he's a nerd. He loves lights, he loved LEDs. His poor mom couldn't even order LED lights because he would take them apart and try to figure out what's going on there. So everything had to be ordered in my house because that's how nerdy he was, but he's the best guy ever. So this is just an overall view, and it really did have to do with light. And so for this design, we really did have to incorporate a lot of light. A lot of the budget went to light, and we'll go through little by little some of the decor pieces. And actually, the designer for this is right here in this room. This is Nico Cervantes in this room from Santa Barbara. And the caterer for this is in the room. I feel awesome. Thank you. Sarah back there with Omni Catering, so thanks for the support. Again, so this is the very beginning. This is before guests walked into the room. This is where they signed the book. We did a little grand entrance. There was a glow-in-the-dark hallway. for people to go in, so they would write the note in glow-in-the-dark pen and pin it up in this glow-in-the-dark hallway. These are the escort cards. So again, this is what was important to the mom. She wanted to bring some sort of Jewish element to it. There's the light. How do you do light and Jewish? Well, why not the Star of David? And that theme came across the whole way through. Once you're inside, same thing. You got the martinis, you got the beverage station, let the kids go somewhere. A bar just like the adults that serves only a ton of sugar, soft drinks, and some fun drinks, not just soft drinks. I'm a big believer of fun waters and things like that. And then this is a popping mat for the adult bar. And then here's the light show. So this is some of the images that were incorporated up on the ceiling, and they changed all night. You see the back of the screen. We built this huge stage and had a light-up screen in the back that went with the music, so it, bebop with the music. And again, David Stark talked about non-floral centerpieces, and that is something that I enjoy. I find that to be creativity. So the non-floral centerpieces here were little balls of same colors in containers. And then we built these two columns to create some sort of light. Again, another venue that really had high ceilings. And we couldn't hang anything necessarily because then the fire alarm would go off. It did great. A great show for the DJ. And on this one, it was one room. It was not two rooms. But we were able to separate, so the adults were in the back. They were in the main part of the bar area, and then the kids were closer. There was a stage and the dance floor, and it worked out really well. We used glow-in-the-dark for the napkin rings, as you see there, bracelets. And then we had a dance floor that changed colors with lighting, which was really fun. Tchotchkes. You cannot have a bar bat mitzvah without a tchotchke. What's a tchotchke?
Little.
Yeah, trinket, a fun toy. Love me my tchotchkes. These were more popular with the adults. The grandfather, this young man, is actually very well-to-do. He's like Mr. Santa Barbara, okay? He had those headbands on his head, and he had the ring. He's 80 years old going around, and he had a blast with those. And then again, just incorporating the light being what was important to the mom, classing it up. You see it on the cake. We did a cake for this young gentleman. There's the thank you notes. We even put it into the invitations and the escort cards that you saw earlier. So that's making both ends meet and both ends happy. Okay, I saved the last one on purpose because it was my personal favorite. I'm not a girly girl, not whatsoever. I met Ava and her mom, and they really didn't have much of a theme just yet, and I got to talking to Ava, and I love when the events, when they come to me, they're like, okay, let's do it, all of it. They don't have anything planned. And I'm sitting there, and I'm talking to Ava, and I'm like, gosh, she is just like me when I was 12 years old. I'm not a girly girl. I really don't enjoy the fancy stuff. I'm not about the flowers. I'm not about pink or anything like that. So we incorporated the graffiti grunge, which ended up coming in a couple of conversations that we had. And I really, really enjoyed creating this one. And again, it starts from the very beginning. It starts from the save the date. And save the dates I find can be really playful. They're really an eye into what is the event about. This is the Ava, the mitzvah girl. And I don't know if you recognize, but in the back it is Jerusalem. It is a picture of her in Jerusalem. So the mom wanted to incorporate that somehow. And then we punched it up with a little bit of color, made it look a little funky, and the save the date looks like we got graffiti on there. And that set the tone. And then we move on to the invitation. The invitation does need to incorporate some sort of elegance. They're going to the grandparents. A lot of the events that we put together for mitzvahs, it's not just about the kids and the parents. You're talking about generations and friends of parents and who's doing what and what's best and all that stuff. So this was a fun little element that we did with the invitations. A lot of people were from out of town, so we did a map, and then you see the graffiti, and then you see the Star of David. So really balancing, again, it's about balancing what is it, who is your audience, and you have a huge range of audience when you're having business clients. And there are RSVPs. It's right on the top of the feedback. Okay, so this actually, they're talking food. They catered their luncheon, and we simplified, we kept it really simple, the green color, the flowers, real basic for the luncheon. And then we moved over to the reception. Now, for me to find this reception location, this is called Soho Bar Club, Bar Lounge, something like that. And again, that is really a big theme for kids these days. They want to be going clubbing, they want to feel like they're going to a club. Soho actually is a restaurant, and then they do live music every night of the week. And it created that grunge element from the very beginning. With the research that I did, everything that I was feeling, I felt like, okay, we have to do this entrance. It's a little funky. You're going up the staircase, and then you're walking into this venue. And again, we separated it with the kids and the adults. The kids were out on the patio, so we tented it. This event was in February. It was the hottest February of my life. It was like a greenhouse in there, but we made it work. There was not a drop anywhere of rain. But it really looked cool from the outside, and a lot of people came in from that mall area to see what was going on. This was cool. Okay, so we got a gentleman to make graffiti for us. Do you know how expensive graffiti is? I had no idea. You need a lot of paint, a lot. And this was a huge canvas. And the cool part is she has it in her room right now. Like literally, she covered up her 4 walls and a little doorway windows. But that was fun to see it come together. And that was the entrance. Again, going back to that great entrance before you even walk into the event. Once you walked in, we created real simple an escort card display. This is wallpaper that's in bricks. And then I cut the wallpaper that's in bricks. We graffitied the adult names for the escort card table. And then if you recognize the flowers, we repurposed them on some of the avenues. And that was the inspiration for it. Once you walked in, you got your escort card on the right-hand side. That's this wall. That's where I got that inspiration from in the club. So this is the kids area. Again, incorporating some sort of floral. I liked using the paper on this one. We used crayons or markers that work on the black paper, so the kids got to keep that. And then you see the lanterns. This was another aspect that I really enjoy doing with the kids and with the parents is how do you incorporate a fit? And I do it with a lot of my events with brides and couples, or if I do nonprofit events, like what do you do? What do you bring to the event as the client? And for the mom, we made it a project, and the daughter had a sleepover or two, and that's what we were planning. They spray painted and they worked on those lanterns. So when they all walked in, they sat there like, oh my gosh, I made that one. So that was really cool. There's another view of it. This was fun. This is actually something that I found through coming to one of these corporate events, right? About like ISIS and event solutions. And that is the activity that you have to have for the children. You have to keep them entertained. You can't only depend on the DJ, the dancers, or all of that to do that. So we had a graffiti wall, and everyone got to graffiti their name. I think the Mitzvah's younger sister hogged it up for a while. From what I understood, there was a little bit of drama because it was a lot of fun, and it did have a huge impact. And it's a photo booth, and it's a keepsaver. This is where the adults sat. So the adults, we incorporated the color, we took away the black, really worked on some nice, fun linens. And what was great about this is that nothing has to match because we're doing graffiti. I love working with color, and we threw it all on there, and it looked really, really good. Lighting was really important on this one because you do want to get that brick effect. And then this is the dance floor. Again, that graffiti that you see in the back, the girls did it on one of those sleepovers, and they were oohed and awed. And then there's a little tchotchke right there on the table. These are flowers that light up and have LEDs in them. And the mom had found them, and she thought maybe they were too janky. And I said, I think it's going to work great. And it did indeed work really well. And then incorporating some of the grunge, we made a little lounge. We got some IKEA tables. We spray painted them and put the yellow tape that you see around it. Pretty easy. There's a dance room there. If you walk down to the right, that's where the kids are, and behind is where the adults in the bar area is. And there you can see it, full force, everyone having fun. I'm not on the dance floor for some reason. I'm probably working. That's what it was. All right. Woo. Any questions? Yes.
When you set the room for kids, I just find that I just give them a fork. Does other people, do you give them knives and spoons. I mean, I just find kids.
Her question was that when she set the tables for kids, she only does a fork and wants to know what does everyone else do. Go ahead.
I think we give her client, my last is what they use for, but the one before that, they blow the full table setting, even on the food, they indicate to people. So we get kind of
I agree. He mentioned that it depends. On one, it was a fork, and on another one, it was both. And I think it also depends on your guest, the mom, her friends, and all of that. Absolutely. I mean, kids sit down for 10 seconds.
They don't
You can't
sit.
spend a lot of time decorating for the kids. They don't sit.
They don't.
They're up and out. They're dancing. They're going to that non-alcoholic beverage bar. They are on their feet for less, at the most, they're sitting for 10 minutes. I think roll-ups and napkins can play a lot into decor. So for me, I think that's important. Yes?
Oh, about the facility, I was scared to give kids crayons.
Crayons?
Crayons or anything to spray to color the wall. I don't know, I was scared. Actually, I have that in my contract, no crayons.
Oh, because they're going to ruin your wall.
Yeah.
So his concern, he has a catering company, and he's concerned that the kids should not have crayons because they'll write on your wall.
Right.
Do a graffiti event. Haha, just kidding.
Now you have a party pal.
Yeah, I mean, there's washables, there's the ones, there's markers that you can get. Or yeah, don't use those. There's other elements that you can use to entertain them. It doesn't have to be something that will keep staying. Yes?
I'm not too kind of goes with that. I'm just finding the neatness and kids and just everything everywhere. And I don't know if there's anyone having a visual issue with that. My dad came up and go, cutting the whole now of mess.
I have bad issues with deco beads. I put them on the adult tables only, and I'm amazed how many kids can get to the
Yeah.
adult tables.
Boys,
In my
boys.
last event, it was a deco bead nightmare. The
You have
things
to
that
make
go-
sure they're tall enough so that they're not reaching, and when they're trying to reach, we had fun with deco beads too. Well, let's talk a little bit about 2014 trends. And where can you find your inspiration? Where can you find your trends? What is happening? And again, for me, being inspired, coming here and listening to other speakers speak and echoing kind of what I have in my brain, just really certifies to me that maybe I know what I'm doing. So memes. I recently, do you know that I get a lot of my lingo from my mitzvah clients? I didn't know what YOLO was 2 years ago. They had to tell me YOLO. Have you guys heard YOLO? YOLO? Yeah? I have no idea.
No. What is
You
it?
only live once. Carpe diem. It's our version of carpe diem. You only live once. YOLO. So memes, that's really popular right now. You can do a whole event on memes. Again, I put on their pauses. That is a trend that will never die, especially with mitzvahs, because there is the mitzvah aspect to it. The pink bat mitzvah that I did, the Breast Cancer Resource Center, and colors. We talk a lot about colors. What is trending in color? Color can be a theme. That is never going to get old. That will always be a trend. There's some colors popular for this year. Movies. The Lego movie came out. I think that, why not? Any kind of movie. Avengers 2 is coming out. You're talking about young boys and their toys, right? And then Carnival. I've done a Carnival themed event before. Again, it's about the experience. And it's not just about Carnival itself, but events that have the experience. That's really where you want to get your kids and the most out of your parents and the families that are there. An experience, whether it's the photo booth. Again, I find that 80% of the adults are the ones who are using the kid activities, which is great to see.
Are
Yes.
you seeing what new activities? That you're putting
Besides
in?
coloring.
Besides coloring? You don't like the colors, do you? New activities, experiences like you would, again, like walking into the space and you're doing something as the guest book, as, when we did the glow in the dark and the nose, or when we did the Western Wall, those kinds of experiences. There's so many different kinds of photo booths these days. There's the video booth that you can sing songs to. Sometimes I don't use those a lot because that competes with the rest of the party. You can incorporate tasters, it could be like different lemonade tastings. A lot of times these kids, they want to be adults. So what is it that adults are doing that are not necessarily kid-friendly? I wouldn't go out and give them cigarettes, but maybe if they do a different kind of lemonade tasting, you put a different ingredient in there and try to guess what it is. So those are different experiences that you can use into that, incorporated into a food and beverage. How am I doing on time? I have 6 minutes left. All right. Well, don't worry, guys. That's the bottom line. Mazel tov and party on. I'm affiliated with 2 different organizations. I have Southern California Mitzvahs. You can find me at southernCaliforniaMitzvahs.com. And then my company, Felici Events. I'm Zoe Felici. And I'd love to take the last 5 minutes for some more questions, anything like that. However, before I do that, if you go to my Facebook page or Twitter or Instagram me, there was, I tweeted yesterday about attention to details. I'm very, very attentive to details. And there was something about this particular seminar that there was one little detail that was a little quirky. If you know what it is and you can send it to me, I will give you a prize. Okay? But any questions before we leave? Any ideas? Yes?
For a non-bar mitzvah person who hasn't done many events, what would be your number one resource, just off the top of your head, for a non-person who's not done it? Is there just one great resource out there?
One great resource out there, entertainment, television, like
Mitzvah Market. The Mitzvah Market I find is a great resource.
are you talking about producing them, or what is your job? What are you?
We have a venue and a catering company, and we've only done a couple, and we'd like to do more. Like to get the market heavier, but really need some resources.
I think that mitzvahs, again, it goes back to that whole conversation of YOLO. You know, it really is about being that 12 and 13-year-old and seeing what they are creating the trends. And it's about what are they watching, what movies are they going to, what is on TV, what's going around Facebook. So I find that really is my inspiration for, I have to be a kid. I mean, bottom line, I have to be a kid and then produce an adult type of event with it. Yes?
I think that to answer that question, because we're a caterer and I'm Jewish and I have kids and have bar mitzvahs, but from that perspective, 2 things that we found that work for us is number 1 is find at the temples and stuff who the party planners that do the majority of the bar mitzvahs are, and invite them to do some, come to your place and do something fun. They're going to be the best resource, and those planners are the ones, like she is, that come up with that. You don't really have to come up with ideas if you could get to be friends with them. Number 2, as far as the food, what we found is they don't eat, and so we want the parents to spend the money on the adult food. So we kind of push them to do, not push them, but we suggest to do mostly fast food for the kids, chicken tenders and cones and pizzas and pizza boxes, stuff like that. Because you can do less quantity, they don't eat. Most parents feed their kids a little something before they leave, and that way they can spend more money on the big money. So.
And I think just real quick, I see a couple of hands up, but just real quick on that point as well. Really, I mean, I got involved with the Jewish community in Santa Barbara, the Jewish Federation, go to the synagogue, if you're trying to mark it up somewhere. Yes, sir, in the back.
I think that's really very local, and I'm in Northern California, outside Berkeley. I mean, we just had a wedding there, and we had some people come here. And the girl came through the line, and the little girl, and she was like, "Oh, what did you put on that salmon?" I mean, the poison, the flavor notes on that were really fantastic and so forth. I think at least in our area, the children are becoming very sophisticated on their palates.
We're in Memphis.
So we should
They're not.
In our area, we are finding that we are no longer doing the little mini pizzas and the little whatever for the kids. Our kids are really demanding the really sophisticated food. So our adult buffets and our children's buffets are really melding together, so that they're becoming much more sophisticated.
And I think it goes back to that experience as well. I mean, you see it in the Tufted Furniture and really classing it up and trying to go to a club and be that 21, 22 persona in their mind. So I agree with you. I think sophistication is really coming. It's so available. You had a question?
Yeah, well, not a question, but I just worked on a menu for bar mitzvah, and we're not doing cut hors d'oeuvres for the kids. We're just having them just go and eat, because they'll only eat once, and then they want to be with the DJ and do their own thing. And then I worked on a bar mitzvah in Connecticut, and what we did is we had the kids have like their own party for like an hour and a half, so that the adults could have their cocktail party and get through dinner. Not dessert, but just dinner, and then we brought the whole party together with the hora and everything. The adults loved it because they didn't have this DJ music blasting in their ears. The kids loved it because everything was geared to them, and it just worked. It's a hard sell though. I have another client and she doesn't get it, and I'm just like saying, it'll be so great. And she said, no, it's such a short time, I want everyone together.
Right.
But anyway, I think it's gonna be a trend, I really do.
Thank you for that. Anyone else before we close shop? All right, well, mazel tov, everyone. Thanks for coming.